They said you'll be comfortable, then tossed me into a room of alien brides. They told Elia's ward that he would be comfortable. The word stayed in his head as the transport door slid shut behind him with a soft hiss. The corridor outside was clean, wide, and glowing with calm blue light. Everything about the alien station looked gentle and organized. Nothing looked dangerous. Nothing looked like a mistake. Elias adjusted the collar of his plain human jacket and followed the tall guide walking ahead of him. The alien moved smoothly, almost floating, long robes brushing the floor. Its voice had been calm when it spoke. Your accommodations are prepared. You will find the environment suitable. Comfortable, Elias thought again. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was a junior diplomatic observer sent because humans were still considered harmless by most of the galaxy. Elias had been chosen because he was quiet, polite, and unlikely to cause trouble. That was what Earth had told the Alliance. The guide stopped in front of a wide door shaped like an arch. Symbols glowed softly along its edge, shifting colors in slow patterns. The air felt warmer here, thicker, carrying strange floral scents. "This is your room," the guide said. Elias blinked. "My room?" "Yes," the alien replied. "You will remain here until the convergence concludes." Before Elias could ask what that meant, the door opened. And then he was pushed inside. Not roughly, not violently, just firmly enough that he lost his balance for half a second. The door closed behind him with a quiet final sound. Elias stood frozen. The room was enormous. It was not a bedroom. It was not even a hall. It was a circular chamber with a ceiling so high he could barely see it. Soft light flowed down the curved walls like water. Cushioned platforms and low seating filled the space in gentle circles. And everywhere he looked, there were aliens. Dozens of them. They were all female. At least, Elias assumed so based on posture, dress, and subtle signals his translator tried to interpret. They were not the same species. Some were tall and elegant with smooth skin in shades of blue and silver. Others were shorter with soft fur, glowing eyes, or delicate scales that reflected the light. They all turned to look at him. The sound in the room faded. Conversation stopped. Eyes focused. Elias swallowed. This must be a mistake," he said softly. No one answered right away. Then a tall alien with long, pale hair stepped forward. She wore a flowing garment marked with golden symbols. Her voice was calm, clear, and amplified gently by the room itself. "The human has arrived," she said. A ripple moved through the chamber. Not fear, not anger, curiosity. Elias raised his hands slowly, palms open. "Hello, I think I was brought to the wrong place." Several of the aliens tilted their heads. One of them, small and purple-skinned with large, bright eyes, whispered something to another. The translator struggled, then settled. "He does not understand," it translated. The tall alien smiled. "That is expected," she said. "Please, human, do not be afraid. You are among honored company." Elias did not feel honored. "Could someone explain where I am?" he asked. "I was told this was my accommodation." A soft sound passed through the room. Laughter, maybe, or something like it. "This is your accommodation," the tall alien replied, "for the duration of the convergence." Elias took a careful step back. The door behind him did not move. "What is the convergence?" he asked. The tall alien studied him closely as if seeing something new. "This chamber is where candidates gather, where bonds are considered, where futures are weighed." Elias felt his stomach drop. "I'm not a candidate for anything," he said quickly. "I'm just an observer, a guest." Another alien moved closer. She was tall, with skin like polished stone and eyes that shimmered gold. "You were selected," she said. "Your presence was approved." "Approved by who?" Elias asked. "By the chamber," she replied. Elias looked around again. The room felt warmer now. The air seemed to hum. "This has to be some kind of misunderstanding," he said. "Humans don't participate," the tall alien finished. "That is what we believed." Elias' translator paused, then added quietly, past tense. A low tone sounded from above. Light shifted. Symbols formed in the air, slow and deliberate. An elder presence filled the room, not a single being but a voice carried by the chamber itself. The convergence recognizes the human, the voice said. Compatibility has been detected. Elias stared upward. Compatibility with what? With us, the voice replied. Silence followed. Elias let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Okay, he said. I think we need to stop for a moment. He moved carefully toward the center of the room where a low platform stood empty. No one stopped him. Dozens of eyes followed every step. I don't know your traditions, he said, and I don't want to disrespect anyone, but I didn't agree to be part of this. The tall alien nodded slowly. Consent is essential, she said. Your confusion has been noted. Elias relaxed a little at that. Good, he said. Then maybe I can leave, the elder voice answered instead. Departure is possible only after understanding. Understanding what? Why you were chosen. Elias rubbed his face. This was not how first contact training had prepared him. I'm nobody special, he said honestly. I don't command fleets. I don't lead nations. Several aliens exchanged looks. That, said the stone-skinned one, is precisely why you were chosen. Elias frowned. I don't follow. The tall alien gestured toward the room. Each here represents power, lineage, duty, expectation. We were raised to embody roles decided before our birth. She looked at him. You entered this chamber without armor, without status symbols, without demands. I entered because I was told I'd be comfortable, Elias muttered. Another ripple of soft amusement moved through the room. You did not try to dominate the space, the elder voice said. You did not demand explanation before concern, you asked questions. Elias shrugged. That's just normal, the word seemed to echo. Normal, the elder repeated thoughtfully. The tall alien stepped closer, stopping a respectful distance away. Human Elias Ward, you will remain here during the convergence. You will speak. You will listen. No bond will be forced. Elias hesitated. And if I refuse, then you will leave, she said. But the chamber has already reacted. What does that mean? He asked. The lights brightened slightly. The air felt warmer still, almost welcoming. It means, she said gently, that you have already changed things. Elias looked around at the many faces watching him. He did not see hunger or threat. He saw curiosity, hope. Something careful and restrained. This was not a trap. It was something far stranger. He let out a slow breath and nodded once. All right, he said, I'll stay, but only to talk. The elder voice resonated softly. The human has accepted presence. The convergence began to stir. And far beyond the chamber, unseen observers took notice. For the first time, a human had entered a place never meant for them, and the galaxy would not remain the same. Elias Ward slept badly, not because the chamber was dangerous, but because it was too quiet. The platform they gave him was soft and warm, shaped gently to his body. The light dimmed when he lay down, turning the high ceiling into something like a night sky. Still, Elias woke many times unsure where he was. Each time he remembered the room full of alien brides, the elder voice, and the strange feeling that the chamber itself was watching him. When he finally rose, the light brightened slowly, as if responding to his movement. He sat up and rubbed his eyes. Across the chamber, the others were already awake. They were not staring now. They were talking among themselves in low voices, gathered in small groups. Some sat on cushions. Others stood near the curved walls. A few glanced toward Elias, then looked away, pretending not to watch. He stood carefully, smoothing his jacket. Good morning, he said, unsure who he was speaking to. Several heads turned. A few responded with polite nods. One of them, the small purple-skinned alien with bright eyes, smiled openly. You greet the room, she said. That is kind. Elias blinked. It's just a habit. She moved closer, her steps light. I am Lyra, she said, from the cloud cities of Vesh. Elias, he replied. From Earth. I know, Lyra said, eyes sparkling. The chamber knows. That sentence made him uncomfortable, but he nodded anyway. Others began to approach, slowly, cautiously, like people stepping into unfamiliar weather. A tall, blue-skinned alien introduced herself as Sail. Another, covered in fine silver scales, gave her name with a bow Elias tried to return awkwardly. Soon, Elias found himself surrounded, not trapped but included. They asked questions. What does your world look like? Why do humans wear such simple clothing? Do you choose your life path, or is it chosen for you? Elias answered as best he could. He spoke about cities and oceans, about crowded streets and quiet places. He explained that humans argued often, failed often, and tried again anyway. He talked about choosing careers, changing them, making mistakes. The more he spoke, the quieter the room became. You are allowed to fail, Sale asked. Yes, Elias said, we do it all the time. And you are not removed, another asked. No, he replied. Sometimes we even learn from it. Lyra tilted her head. That is unusual. As the day went on, the chamber shifted. Food appeared, simple dishes shaped by the chamber itself, adjusted for each species. Elias hesitated at first, but hunger won. The taste was strange but pleasant. No one rushed him. No one pressured him. That worried him more than if they had. Later, the tall alien from before, the one with pale hair and golden symbols, approached again. Her name, Elias learned, was Orin. You are adapting, Orin said. I'm just talking, Elias replied. Talking is not just anything, she said. Here, words shape futures. She gestured, and a section of the wall became transparent, revealing faint images beyond the chamber. Shapes moved. Lights flickered. Observers, Elias guessed. Yes, Orin said. The convergence is never private, Elias frowned. So everything I say is being watched. Everything you choose to say, she corrected. That night the first challenge came, not announced, not formal. A disagreement broke out between two of the brides. It began quietly. A sharp tone, a step too close. Elias noticed because the air changed, growing tense. One of them, tall and sharp-featured, spoke quickly in her own language. Another responded just as sharply. The translator struggled, but Elias caught enough. You represent decay. You represent stagnation. Others backed away, forming space between them. Elias stood up without thinking. Hey, he said, voice calm but firm. Both aliens turned to him, surprised. This isn't my place, he continued, but maybe we should slow down. A few gasps echoed softly. You are not part of this, one of them said. I know, Elias replied, but from where I'm standing, you're both angry because you care. That stopped them. He took a careful step forward. Back home, when people argue, it's usually because they're afraid of losing something. Silence stretched. What are you afraid of? He asked gently. The sharp-featured alien hesitated, then quietly she answered, being replaced. The other lowered her gaze, being ignored. Elias nodded. That makes sense. The chamber felt still, like it was holding its breath. You don't have to agree, Elias said, but you don't have to tear each other apart either. After a long moment, the two stepped back. The elder voice did not speak, but the chamber glowed faintly brighter. Later, Orin approached Elias again. You interfered. I helped, he said. Yes, she replied. That is interference here. That night the elder voice finally spoke. The human demonstrates resonance, it said, unplanned yet effective. Elias stared upward. I'm not trying to prove anything. Nevertheless, the voice replied, proof is occurring. Word spread beyond the chamber. Across distant systems, observers watched recordings of the human who listened instead of competing. Analysts argued. Elders debated. Some dismissed it as novelty. Others were uneasy. On the third day, a formal gathering was called. The bride stood in a wide circle. Elias was asked to stand at the center, not commanded but invited. You are altering the balance, the elder voice said. Explain why. Elias swallowed. He looked around at the many faces watching him. I'm not trying to change your traditions, he said honestly. I'm just treating people like people. That is not neutral, the voice replied. Elias nodded slowly. then maybe neutrality isn't always good. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Orin watched him closely, her expression unreadable. The convergence was designed to bind power, the elder voice said, yet cohesion is increasing without binding. Elias shrugged. Maybe because no one feels trapped. Silence followed. The human challenges the premise, the elder said. I'm sorry, Elias replied softly. No, the voice answered. You are not. The lights dimmed, then brightened again. The convergence will proceed, the elder announced. With an adjustment. Elias felt a chill. What kind of adjustment? Orin stepped forward. A trial, she said. Elias' heart sank. I thought you said nothing would be forced. Nothing will be, she replied, but observation will intensify. What kind of trial? He asked. Orin's eyes met his. One that measures influence without authority, she said, and unity without command. Around them, the chamber hummed with anticipation. Far beyond the walls, more observers joined the feed. Humanity, once ignored, was now being studied. And Elias Ward, who only wanted a quiet assignment, stood at the center of something that could reshape the meaning of connection itself. The trial did not begin with alarms or commands. It began with silence. The chamber changed its shape slowly, the curved walls shifting as if they were breathing. The soft platforms moved apart, forming open space in the center. Light gathered above, forming clear symbols that pulsed gently. Elias stood still, hands at his sides. Orin stepped forward, her voice calm but carrying weight. This is a trial of influence, she said. No orders, no rewards, no punishments. That sounds fair, Elias replied. Fairness is not guaranteed, Orin said. Only observation. The elder voice spoke next, deeper than before. The human will be presented with divergence. He may not command, he may not withdraw. Elias frowned. So I just exist. Precisely, the voice answered. The chamber divided. Invisible lines formed across the floor, subtle but clear. The brides were guided again, not forced, into 3 separate groups. Each group stood apart, facing different directions. Elias felt the tension rise. These are not enemies, Orin explained quietly. They are futures. The first group glowed with cool blue light. They represent tradition, stability, preservation. The second group stood under warmer tones. They represent change, expansion, risk. The third group was dimmer, uncertain. They represent withdrawal, isolation. Safety through distance. Elias looked at them, feeling the weight of choice press down on him. What am I supposed to do? He asked. You are not supposed to choose, Orin said. You are supposed to respond. The elder voice continued. Each group believes their path ensures survival. Only one may guide the alliance. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Elias shook his head. That's not how survival works. The elder did not answer. The trial began. The first group stepped forward. Their leader, Sale, spoke calmly. Our traditions have preserved us for thousands of cycles. Change invites chaos. The human should respect what already works. Elias nodded. Tradition matters, he said. It gives people roots. Sale's eyes brightened slightly. Then the second group approached. Lyra stood at their front. Without change, roots become chains, she said. Growth requires risk. Humans understand this. Elias smiled faintly. We do, he said. Sometimes too well. The third group did not move at first. Finally, one of them spoke, voice quiet. Every expansion brings attention. Attention brings danger. We should step back from the galaxy. Elias listened carefully. One by one, each group explained their fears and hopes. They did not argue directly. They spoke to Elias, not at him. Observers beyond the chamber watched closely, waiting for him to lean toward one side. But Elias did not. When they finished, he sat down on the floor. That alone caused a ripple of surprise. I think you're all right, he said. The chamber stilled. You're also all wrong, he added gently. A sharp intake of breath passed through the groups. Elias looked at Sale. Tradition keeps people steady, but when tradition stops listening, it breaks. He turned to Lyra. Change creates opportunity. but rushing forward without care leaves people behind. Then he faced the third group. Safety matters, but hiding forever isn't living. He spread his hands. Humans mess this up all the time. We argue, we split, we fail. The elder voice interrupted. You avoid selection. Elias looked upward. I reject the question. Silence fell. The trial requires guidance, the elder said. Then change the trial, Elias replied. Gasps echoed. Oren stared at him. You challenge the framework. Yes, Elias said, because the framework assumes one answer. The light above flickered. Survival isn't a single path, Elias continued. It's balance, talking, adjusting when things go wrong. The chamber began to glow brighter as if reacting to his words. You want unity, Elias said, but you designed a test that creates division. The elder voice paused for a long moment. Then what do you propose, human? It asked. Elias stood up slowly. Let them decide together, the group stirred. They already are deciding, the elder replied. Not really, Elias said. They're defending. He looked around the chamber. What if the trial isn't about choosing a future but learning how to talk about one? A murmur spread. Oren stepped closer. Explain. Elias took a breath. Back home we have something called a table. When things get hard, we sit around it. No one stands above anyone else. The chamber shifted. The floor rose slightly in the center, forming a wide, low circle. Let them sit, Elias said. Not as groups, as people. The elder voice hesitated. Then the chamber responded. The invisible lines faded. Platforms moved, forming a circle. The brides looked at one another uncertain. Lyra was the first to sit. Then Sail followed. Slowly, others joined until the circle was complete. Elias sat with them, not at the center, but as part of the ring. The trial transformed. At first, no one spoke. Then one voice broke the silence. If we mix paths, who leads? Elias answered softly. Sometimes leadership is listening. Another asked, what if compromise weakens us? Sometimes it strengthens trust, Elias replied. Questions flowed, doubts surfaced. Fears were shared openly. The chamber hummed, recording every word. Far away, analysts whispered. This was not in any archive. Hours passed. Finally, the elder voice spoke again. The trial's metrics are destabilized. Oren looked worried. Is that bad? The voice sounded thoughtful. No, it is unprecedented. The chamber's light softened. Influence has been demonstrated, the elder said, without authority, without coercion. Elias exhaled slowly. The human has altered outcome probability, the voice continued. Not by selecting a path, but by connecting them. The trial ended, but something else began. As the chamber returned to its original form, Elias felt the weight of countless unseen eyes. Oren approached him. You realize what you've done, she said quietly. I think I made things harder, Elias replied. She smiled faintly. You made them honest. Beyond the chamber, the Alliance Council gathered in emergency session. Humanity was no longer considered harmless. It was now considered influential. And the final phase of the convergence was about to begin. The final phase of the convergence arrived with a weight Elias had not expected. After the trial, the chamber fell quiet. The room, once alive with conversation and tension, now felt like a waiting space. The alien brides, who had once stood divided by tradition, change, and fear, now looked at one another in a way that made Elias uncomfortable, like they were seeing something new, something they had never expected to see in themselves. Elias wasn't sure if they saw him the same way, but he knew they had to be thinking about their own futures now, and that wasn't something they were used to. The elder voice spoke. The convergence is complete. The trial has ended. A decision will be made. Elias didn't feel relief. He had expected finality, maybe a conclusion he could step away from, but there was no conclusion, no easy answer. Will I be allowed to leave? He asked quietly, but his voice echoed in the stillness. You are not dismissed, the elder replied. Your presence has changed the structure. There will be no leaving until the transition is complete. Elias felt his heart race. Transition. What does that mean? The light above dimmed, as if weighing his question. The convergence was meant to end with one future. The human has proposed a different possibility, one of balance, of connection, he swallowed. And what happens now? Orin, who had been standing by the wall, stepped forward, her expression unreadable. The chamber is waiting for you to speak again. The others, they are listening to you now more than before. Elias shook his head. I didn't ask for that. You did not ask for anything, Orin said, but you gave them something. Something in the way she said it made Elias pause. He realized she wasn't speaking to him alone. She was speaking to the entire room, to the galaxy watching beyond the chamber. The convergence wasn't about choosing a side. It had never been. It was about change, but not the kind they had expected. It was about learning to hear. The first voice broke the silence. It was Sale, the one who had led the traditionalists. We have followed paths for so long, she said, her voice steady but carrying an edge of uncertainty. But now, I wonder, can we follow a new one? The second voice, Lyra, followed. Tradition has its place. But risk and growth are also needed. Balance is more than talking, it's action. One by one, they spoke. The brides who had once stood apart, separated by principles, power, and fear, now shared something different. They shared doubt. They shared questions. Elias stood quietly, watching them, feeling the weight of their words. I didn't change the system, he said finally, breaking the quiet. I just asked you to listen to each other. And you listened to us, Sale replied. We thought listening meant weakness. We believed listening meant giving up control. Then we were wrong, Lyra added, her tone firm now. Yes, Sale agreed. And now we have to choose whether to continue the path of power through division or try something new. Elias stepped forward. I can't choose that for you, he said. All I did was show you that the question was worth asking. A silence fell again, longer this time, but it was a different silence. It wasn't the tense silence of before, where something dangerous was waiting to erupt. It was the kind of silence that follows a question that hasn't yet been answered. The elder voice spoke. The trial has disrupted the expected outcome. The paths are no longer clear. Unity without hierarchy has been demonstrated. And though the chamber was designed for a different outcome, it recognizes this possibility. The air in the chamber thickened, not with tension, but with possibility. You mean, Elias said, slowly piecing things together, the convergence wasn't just about the future of the brides. It was about the future of the alliance. Yes, the elder replied. The humans' actions have illuminated a path not of dominance, but of connection. A path not for one, but for many. Elias' mind raced. So you're saying that this experiment was never just about us. It was about testing the whole galaxy. No, the elder replied. It was about the willingness to change. The chamber shifted again. The walls glowed brighter, more intense. And in the center of it all, Elias stood with the brides, not as a leader, not as a guide, but as a bridge. And then something unexpected happened. A faint shimmer in the air appeared before him. A holographic map of the galaxy, a network of stars, planets, and alien systems. The map, which had once been a rigid, unchanging thing, now pulsed gently. At first, it seemed chaotic, but Elias could see the connections, the lines, the pathways that linked everything. The systems that had once seemed so distant were now intertwined in a complex but beautiful dance. Do you see? Orin asked, stepping beside him. This is the future, not one of separation but of connection. The question is no longer who leads. The question is, how do we share the galaxy? Elias nodded slowly. And the convergence, this was the test of whether we were ready to do it together. Exactly, she said. And you have proven it, not through force, not through conquest, but through understanding, through listening. He felt the weight of the words. It was overwhelming, yet it was also freeing. Humanity had been an outsider in this galaxy, strangers, newcomers, but now they had been given a seat at the table. Not as conquerors, but as potential partners. The chamber's walls shifted once again, revealing the alien leaders gathered beyond the chamber, their holographic images appearing in the air, visible to Elias and the brides. There were no grand speeches. There were no demands for surrender. Instead, they simply waited. "We have seen the trial," one voice, deep and ancient, said. "We have seen the choices, and we have seen what comes after." Another voice, sharp and clear, responded, "We are not ready for this kind of unity. But we are willing to learn." A final voice spoke, calm and wise. This was the human's trial, not to command but to question, to create connection. The elder voice joined in. "The convergence has concluded. A new path has been forged." And for the first time, Elias realized the full meaning of the words. It wasn't just a test for the brides. It was a test for all of them, for the whole galaxy. "Then what happens now?" he asked quietly. The elder voice answered. "Now the galaxy moves forward, not as separate factions, but as one." Elias stood silent as the chamber's light softened and dimmed, like the final chapter of a book being closed. The stars outside the walls blinked quietly in the distance. The universe, once distant and uncaring, now seemed a little more connected, a little more human. And for the first time in his life, Elias understood that humanity wasn't just part of the galaxy. They were going to help shape it.